Sorry. I just wanted to see me on. Yeah.
Are you ready for the PATS Nation? The only real deal Patriot post-game show. And now, Corso and Catone.
Welcome into the PATS Nation, presented by Corso and Catone, the real deal New England feel. Saturdays, make sure, Saturdays, 7 p.m. Eastern, Corso and Catone.
Who are you joined by this day? Looks like somebody else in the seat for Catone.
Yeah, well, I'll get to that in a second. But week 6, Joe, sees the Cowboys go into the New England Patriots and hand the Patriots their fourth loss in a row at home, 35-29. Chris Corso alongside Joe Guarnieri pulling double duty again, and you live chat going on YouTube. Joe's got us up on YouTube. Give us that thumbs up and make sure you subscribe. You can also catch us at Podbean, and anywhere that you podcast. Oh, and iHeartRadio app. Make sure you tune in on that.
Yes.
Yeah, you can check us out on Twitter at Corso_Catone, at Corso_Catone, and give us a call, 855-313-PATS, 855-313-7287. Call, leave a message. We got obviously a ton to unwrap here in this overtime loss. We're going to talk about Mac Mania, Coach's Corner, and, of course, our Sunday Stiff. Joe, I can't begin. Let me get my notes because I'm just, I want to get your impressions first before we get into Mac Mania.
Ooh, impressions, because I was pre-thinking that you were going to say, what's my take? And I was going to say, what's my take?
What's your take?
My take?
Give it to us.
You guys better start getting used to those cream-colored jerseys. Looking like this pumpkin over here because, man, I tell you what, I don't want to go back to the Patriots of the 80s. I can't do it because you know what? I can't. I'm the same way. I'm with you.
Joe, they haven't lost this many games at home in a row since 1993. By the way, they sucked in 1993. Just so you know. Just so everybody out there was alive. I was alive then. Joe was alive then. And trust me when I tell you, they sucked. I was sitting up in the seats seeing it every single week. So I know that they did. So, 4 in a row at home. Joe, listen, there's my impression, my initial take of this game is offensively, and we're going to get into the offense now, but offensively, I can live with some of that. Defensively and the defensive backs, yeah. You know what? When we get to the defense, we'll discuss that a little, But for now, Joe, Mac Mania, let's get right into that. Go ahead.
Now.
So, Joe, he was. Let's get the numbers. He was 6'15". My eyesight isn't very good anymore. He's 15 of 21 for 229 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Obviously, the interception was the pick 6, and let's get right into that because that's all on him. I've been over the last few weeks, I've been kind of apologizing and saying, no, Mac Jones isn't the reason. He's not the reason. Well, that was a bad throw, and he threw another slant earlier in the game that didn't hurt him, but it was still a bad throw. It was off the mark, and this one finally did hurt him.
I'm not going to give him a pass, but I tell you what, dude, this is. I see people trying out there. I see people not trying.
Yeah.
I see people who are spectators on the field who have a job to do. In fact, I think that's the one thing he says all the time. Do your job. And It looks like he's in the stands watching the game, just like everybody else. You might as well just buy a ticket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That you
Yeah.
can't, you know. And it's not. Here's the thing. I've been saying this. Obviously, we haven't had a show this long, but I've been saying this for the past 3-4 years.
And why don't you tell us who you're referring to? Because I mean, I know.
The people, fans know. Belichick is just. I don't know what is going on. I can't. I don't understand what's happening with him. I don't know what he's thinking about.
Well, yeah. Well, listen, Mac Jones, though. I mean, because we'll get to Coach's Corner in a little bit. And,
I know.
Well, Paula, welcome in. Paul Hopkins. Hi, guys. Disappointing game. Yeah. It's clearly a disappointing game. It was clearly. Yeah. So as far as Mac Jones goes, okay, I like the numbers. 15 to 21. At one point, he had maybe 10 or so straight completions. Now, when you look down and you see all those completions, 7 yards, 10 yards, 15 yards, 20, there's nothing that's down the field. But I'll tell you what, this is game 6, and I saw him pumping that ball down the field today more than any other time, especially in the second half.
That was my point. I didn't get to him. I went off on the tangent of Belichick because he drives me crazy when he does that. But that was my point about Mac Jones, that I see him trying, and I'm like, you know what? This kid's trying. And I'm pro Mac Jones. I like what he's doing out there. I know he's a rookie, but guess what? He's a rookie and he's trying. He's doing it. He's doing it. But he throws a pick and then, this guy sucks. No, it's like that.
I mean, look what he did after that.
You know what I mean? That's what happens when nobody else is trying with him.
Yeah.
No,
listen, like I said, I mean, that's his bad. He threw the slant. It was a pick, and you especially can't get away with that against Diggs. That was his seventh seventh interception of the year. Diggs in 6 games. That's ridiculous. John, that's ridiculous. I mean, picking off that many balls this early in the year. But again, bad throw. But then look what he does. He gets him, he needs to bring him into a position. And I said it too. I said it when it was going on. I said, you know what? You want everybody to forget Tom Brady? Then you need to bring this team back and score a touchdown. And he did. He threw that ball. It was a perfect throw to Bourne for that long touchdown. But of course, I said the next thing out of my mouth was where they left too much time on the clock because this defense sucks, which we'll get to in a minute. But again, but he did what he needed to do. And in the overtime, Joe, he was moving the ball down the field. An atrocious non-call on the face mask. On Myers. I mean,
what's happening? they must
be yanking the face mask. He's yanking the friggin' face mask. Like, I like to go up to that official and yank his face mask and see if he throws the flag against the other guy. You know what I'm saying, Joe? That's absurd. How are you going to catch a ball if your head's going like this? And I was texting with a Cowboy fan that I know that basically said, well, yeah, what about the non-touchdown in the first? Hey, I said, could you see that on the replay? Could you even see that it was a for sure touchdown? Because it looked like a mess in there, and the call on the field was no touchdown. So, I mean, like this was out in the open. Yanks the face mask to say nothing of the hold calls that they blew throughout that game. Judon got yanked down on the drive before that the game tying drive that in the fourth quarter that the Cowboys had. So,
and when you hear the announcers say something about it, it's like, all right. Usually, sometimes when you hear somebody, one of the announcers say, I don't know, there's a face mask, and then you'll see a flag sometimes, right. It'll be a stall of play. You don't know what's going on because, in the world of video and film and stuff, there's like some moment of like awkwardness. That means that they're doing something on the field that we don't, as fans, as viewers, don't know about. And then we'll see it. But in this case, nothing. It was just,
And he threw again this week again, 8 different receivers. 8? He completed passes to 8 different receivers. So again, Brady-esque, spreading that ball around the field in his early career, not for a ton of yards, each guy, but enough to look. Mark, they scored 20. Joe, they scored 29. Sorry, they scored. They scored 29 points in this game. So they got. To me, they had enough points to win the game, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So Mac Jones, to me, did his job. Yeah, he made a mistake. He made a couple of bad throws that were rookie mistakes. The sacks weren't on him. I mean,
I don't think they
the goddamn
ever are.
offensive line, now
mean,
one
he
of them,
can't really move that well in the pocket, but he was. I did see some movement, so I could see the progression. That's the thing. I see him progressively getting better at things like that he's not good at.
Right.
Yeah, he can nail a target for sure. He had that pass to Myers over the middle, and he was about to get crushed. And it's like, okay, we know he could do that. And he stepped up in the pocket and got it there. So you go, all right, he's getting better at that.
Yeah, I mean, they would convert. He was converting third down plays, and he was converting third down plays, extending drives, things like that. Now, the one time I will say, the play where he got just, destroyed, that blitz that was coming right into his face from the right side. And that guy just
and I think they're playing it right now behind you.
Of course they're playing it. They're going to play it. They're going to play it over and over again all night long.
Play.
Right. But again, what I'm doing is looking for the sacks right now. I'm trying to see, how many sacks that they had, that Dallas had. But again, I can say, well, maybe that was on him because he should have seen that blitz coming and checked out of it, say. But the offensive lineman, again, I thought Mac Jones had a good game. He had a good enough game to win. He showed balls when it needed to be. Can I say that? Cojones, whatever you want to say. He showed that when it needed to happen, and he put his team in position to win.
Yeah.
So speaking of, so Mac Mania is brought to us by Special Sauce Podcast. Start up, finance, and drive yourself to success. SpecialSaucePodcast.com. Well, Joe, that brings us into the next. Well, let's get right into the offensive line right now, because first of all, Isaiah Wynn sucks. I really don't have anything else to say about him other than the fact that he stinks. I know he has had 2 weeks where he didn't practice for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So, Joe, to your point, should they have even run him out there on the field with no practice?
I mean, are you trying to do something new? Are you trying to do something that's going to get a spark in the game? If so, that's the wrong guy anyway.
Well, listen, I don't know if he was on the field because there was an injury or something like that, but he only lasted a couple of plays and they yanked his ass out because he gave up a bad sack too. I mean, he gave up somebody, he was just standing there. And then after it, I don't even see him go over to his quarterback and help him up. He just walks away like the slob that he is.
That's the part. That's the part where I keep seeing people doing stuff like that. The whole team. There are certain people that consistently keep doing stuff like that, and you go, "What are we doing here? Is it you? Is it them? Is it the team? Is it the coaches? What are we doing? Is nobody happy over there? Is Mac Jones the only one wanting to play it in New England? What's going on?"
Joe, look, like I said, I don't think the offensive line played bad. Last week, we were happy with the way they played. Now, when I went back and looked at the game, schematically, they were doing things to help that offensive line, to put them in better positions, which you should do as a coaching staff, right? I mean, in this game, I thought the offensive line, when they had the same unit, Owanui played today, they had some breakdowns. When Isaiah Wynn came in the game, they sucked. So when he went out, they were better. And then you had that one, awful sack that coughed up Jones coughed up the ball over where the dude just went around them. And again, I put some of that on Jones because I think he should have checked out of that play or called a timeout. But otherwise, they ran the ball well. They had, let's see, Patriots rushed for 122 yards. Yeah, 122 yards off 31 carries. So that's your average of, 4 yards a carry, something like that. So
he's someone I see trying.
I'm sorry.
You know
No, I'm looking at
Harris, right?
I'm looking at the damn. It's 120 yards. Sorry, off 27 carries. So right around 4.5 yards a carry. That's not bad. And, so the offensive line was opening up creases for the backs. And listen, we talked about it coming in. We talked about it yesterday that they're going to have to run the ball, but are they going to be able to run the ball? Dallas is pretty stout against that run. Well, they ran the ball pretty well today with 120 yards.
And then a couple people did their jobs. A couple people you don't like. Bolden back there, they're moving the ball forward. That's all that matters, right?
The only thing I'm going to remember about Bolden from today, and I don't even blame him.
That was going to
He's
be
out on the not Stevenson. He's out on the field on a 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1, whatever it was, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, and you knew what was coming. I said it. I'm like, here it comes. They're going to hand this ball to Bolden. He's going to go nowhere. And Bolden shouldn't be that guy that's getting the ball in that situation. It should be somebody else. But again, to his defense, he was handed the ball and somebody was right in his face. It's just a bad play call.
Yeah. I mean, that doesn't come down to him because it's like, again, but it does, and it doesn't, because you're right. I think in the initial part of the situation, the coach's call of making that play happen in a situation, you're like, come on, what are we doing out there when they make plays like that? It's like, it's almost as if it's like fans who know the team and the game wouldn't do that play.
Well, yeah, they wouldn't run it.
Marshawn Lynch play at the end of the Super Bowl. It's always a play like that. Everybody in who watching the Super Bowl knew it. Oh, it's going to Lynch. He's gonna he's just gonna barrel it in, and he did.
And it didn't happen. He threw the ball instead.
And
He got the interception.
You knew he would have just barreled it in. Why didn't you just give it to him?
Right.
Now, and this is the flip of that type of situation where it's like, this play is not going to work. Why are you going to do that? That's where you try something different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but moreover, the defense knows.
The defense knows
this is what's
already.
coming.
You know what I mean?
You know what I mean? It's just again, it's like you say, play calling. Now it was better. It was better today. McDaniels was better today in spots. That was one that wasn't good. I thought in the red zone they were better. They were much better in the red zone. They're opening it up for this kid a little bit, and he's finding guys. If Aguilar could catch the ball,
someone had said that McDaniels is trying to make some stuff happen for him, for Mac Jones to make stuff happen, trying to give him the plays that he can make stuff happen. So you go, okay, I could kind of see that with that, what you just said.
So again, the backs, I don't think the backs, I mean, Harris had a great day. I mean, he rushed for 101 yards, 5.5 yards a carry off 18 attempts. Stevenson had 23 yards.
And his first touchdown, right?
And 4.5 yards, 4.5 yards a carry. So those two guys were getting it done.
Yeah.
And Bolden had one carry for negative yards. That was the play we were talking about for -1.
And
I will say
with Harris was he injured? What was happening with his leg? Did they say anything?
He limped off. I didn't hear what they said on the broadcast. I listened to very little. They say, although I like Tony Romo. I do. I know how you feel, but I like Tony Romo.
He's great.
It's Collinsworth. That's who you don't like. But
Tony
I like Romo.
Here's what's so cool about Tony Romo is he actually gives the plays that you would want to know from the quarterback's position. Aikman does it sometimes, but he does it in a way that's just like, he's very backed about it.
It's because Aikman's 172 years old now, and he's more John Madden than he is Tony Romo right now.
Together.
But no, seriously,
I like it,
He tells you what play is coming.
Yes. He tells you what play is coming or what they should be doing, and then when they don't do it, and he shows you the play-by-play and does his John Madden markings on the screen, they come back again. That's the thing. That's the difference. He's done that quite a few times where he makes a call and says, "This is the play, by the way, that we called early. It was the last play of the game, actually,
right
tonight."
Yeah, and he's one of the few guys that you can watch that will diagnose what's happening, in seconds before the ball snapped. Oh, they're in cover 2. Oh, they're bringing this guy down. It's going to be delayed blitz. It's zero look. They're probably dropping out of it. He's reading it as if he's on the center reading it.
But in a radio-friendly sort of way, too, where it's like it's
right.
easily understandable.
Well, he dumbs it down for people like you and I.
For me,
we're morons, when it comes to this stuff. I mean, look, I have a whole sheet of notes. I don't know if any of it's right. Who the hell knows? I mean, I'm so
sheet of notes. I couldn't read a word of it.
I'm so friggin' disgusted. Hey, Joe, you know what? Give me a break. I was so friggin' disgusted during this game. I'm like scribbling shit on the look what I wrote for special teams.
Sucks, blocked. What's that word?
Punt. Okay, sucks. I just wrote sucks. I mean, this is the second block punt in what, as many weeks or in 3 weeks, which shouldn't be happening to a Belichick coach team, which we will get to in a segment coming up, I'm sure. So again, I thought the backs did all right. You shift out to the wide receivers now, and look, Aguilar, for the amount of money we paid this guy, okay, he let's see, where are his numbers? I have to go way down on the list. Way down on the list for receiving for him. He had 3 attempts, 1 catch for 27 yards, and 1 terrible drop out of those 3 attempts. That's it. That's what the millions of dollars we're paying that clown are bringing us, and even Bourne had 1 catch for 2 targets, so they weren't targeting him much. I don't know if Diggs was on him during this game. He may have been, or he may have been on Aguilar, which would be the reason why they wouldn't go at him. But the 1 catch was huge for 75 yards because it was the touchdown. But steady Myers again. Jacoby Myers, steady, 5 receptions off 6 targets.
Baloney has 40. A last name. It's Meyer.
Joe, I felt so bad. I felt so bad for that kid because he hasn't had. Do you know that he hasn't had a touchdown yet?
You'll get it.
He hasn't had a catching touchdown.
Okay, so I wanted to ask
he had one today. They called it back because the offensive line sucks.
Oh yeah, but I wanted to ask you this question about it. I wanted to ask you what we talked about last time. Last week we were talking about those, those teams that took themselves to the Super Bowl, and they created some sort of franchise like the Aikmans and Smith and stuff like that, and they had the 3-way, the quarterback, the running back, the wide receiver.
Yeah. Does
it look like Mac Jones, Myers, and Harris could potentially be that? Am I going a little like, am I leaning too far that way, or could it possibly actually build into that?
Not. I would say the running back, the quarterback. I would disagree on the wide receiver because Myers is not going to be that guy. He's not going to be a Michael Irving. I mean, you need, we talk about this on the shows all the time. You need a money wide receiver. You need a number 1. They haven't drafted him. The stiff Harry was on the field today, and he blew a block too. He sucked on the field for the half a second he was out there, and he was the first round pick. They could have had Metcalf. We talk about this. They could have had Metcalf. They could have had Brown.
Talk about it.
Samuel, right?
Every week.
And so
that's what made me think about that when they say that the kid catches everything, right?
Right.
So when you see something like that and you're going, is it potentially that he can actually grow into one of those people? Because, when you looked at Edelman, Welker back in the day, they weren't, they didn't show signs.
Those are middle. Those are but those are slot guys.
I know, but you know what? A receiver, to me, a receiver is just someone who's going to catch the ball and make plays wherever they are in the field. I don't care where it is. You know what I mean?
Well, then Jacoby Myers does fit a mold like that because he catches pretty much everything that's thrown at him. I mean, he is clutch. He was clutch for Brady. He's clutch for this guy. Oh God, I'm mentioning his name, and I said I would never. He was clutch for the quarterback before, and he's clutch for this guy too. So no, he comes up when you need a catch. He comes up with it. So maybe he molds into that. But yeah, they're gonna need a number 1. They're gonna need somebody that can stretch the field for this kid because clearly he can throw a deep ball. I mean, he can throw the deep ball. He puts beautiful touch on these balls. I mean, when he threw that to Bourne for the touchdown, that was a beautiful throw. Now the safety really screwed up for the Cowboys on that. He took a flat, he looked like he went flat. When I say flat, he should be on an angle down the field towards Bourne. Instead, he kind of went flat, like sideline to sideline, and it allowed Bourne to get behind. And Mac Jones just places it very nice, or he allowed it to get in between them.
It's tough to see what you're talking about. It maybe we should probably implement that into the show sooner than later with drawing some of those plays up like Madden.
Someday, chalk talk.
Chalk
Sunday?
talk. That's good. What
Good,
would you
baby.
do that chalk talk? Because you know what?
Chalk talk.
It's nice to hear that. And you know, you have a lot of people like somebody like Tony Romo who can actually explain it, but you can actually explain it very well because not seeing it as a viewer and you again, you're seeing the later half of the play or the cameraman's, you know, queued up on somebody else and you don't really see what's happening afterwards. And when you describe it like that, now I get what I didn't see. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So again, and before we get to break, I'll just say this. You know, the offense, I'm not going to give them a complete pass. I mean, they scored 14 in the first quarter and then nothing. You know, they, with 4 minutes left in the third quarter, they had 0 first downs in 20 minutes. To say nothing of the time of possession in this game, which was 39 minutes to 26, and that's closer than it was all game long. It was 2-1 all game long. I
Yeah.
put that more on the defense, which we're going to get to next, Joe. So let's get the break and come back, and let's get really, really pissed off right after this.
How do I get to the point where I understand my passion enough to communicate it outward and dial myself in so that I can craft my own sauce? But you don't have anyone that's going to give you the right advice. Now you do. We've been discussing where we live and what areas do we want to always talk about. And really, it's startup, it's finance, and drop. We are Special Sauce Podcast.
Back in with more Pats Nation. Patriots dropped their 4th home loss in a row in Week 6, 35-29 in overtime to the Dallas Cowboys. 567 yards.
Oh, I was just looking.
Go ahead, Joe. Go ahead.
I
Take
just
that and go with it.
I mean, who are we talking about now? The defense, or you want to talk about how good Dallas is? Because I mean, they're coming in, the defense just like let them roll. They're just rolling over for these quarterbacks, and I don't understand what's happening back there. I see McCourty. Marks is right. I see it this. You know, a lot of times, the cameraman's not on him, or he's not in the shot. Where somebody like Ronnie Lott back in the 80s used to be in every camera shot. Every shot, every play, you see Ronnie Lott coming through.
Yeah.
Because he was that guy. Every single play. He was like, oh, there he is. There's number 42 again. There's number 42. Diving, jumping. McCourty, you don't ever see him. And I think Marcus is right. He's getting slow. He's tired. He's just there, I think, to kind of help the team along. Because it doesn't seem like he's there to play or try or anything else, you know, that I would see from a safety. You know what I mean?
I don't question his effort, but his age. I mean, he's given his team. But you know what? Look, it's what have you done for me lately? And he's just lost a step, including Hightower. And but Joe, what do you want to get into first? You want to get into the lack of pass rush, the non-existent pass rush, or because I got some explanation for that, or do you want to talk about this middle of the field being given up by the linebackers who just couldn't seem to sink down to take away those crossers? Or do you want to talk about the secondary, the defensive backs who allowed Prescott to throw for, you ready? You ready for this? 445 yards. 445 yards. I was like, you know what? I'm surprised he didn't throw for 5. And you know what? If the game lasted longer, he would have thrown for 500. They just didn't need to. You know, he was 36 of 51.
In fantasy football with Prescott for sure.
Well, 36 of 51, 445 yards, 3 touchdowns, and the 1 pick. You know, is the percentage? So he missed what? Is that 10, 15? He missed 15 passes out of the 36. And, you know, so it's not.
Who's doing the percentages? I mean, he won the game. with over 400 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Right. How much?
Every
I want to know how
percentages
much of that. I'll have to look and see how much of that came in overtime, but enough, obviously enough. So let's start with the defensive front, Joe. Okay. Once again, when we look at the rushing, they rushed for 122 yards. Now, again, the eye test. Elliott carried the ball 17 times for 69 yards, average of 4 yards a carry. Pollard, 10 rushes, 41 yards, average of 4 yards a carry. That was pretty much it. So there was a few other rushes by Prescott and Lamb, but those were the guys. So with those two guys, they rushed for 120 yards or 115 yards. Now, I look at that and I say, okay, I mean, that's not terrible. I get it. It's over 100 yards. You shouldn't allow that. But they were running the ball at such a great clip, the Cowboys coming into this game, that you knew they were going to get theirs a little bit. The problem that I have with it, okay, the issue that I have is the issue I have with this team every week is when it counts, they don't show up.
Yes. And that's it. I mean, that's the point. I actually started to
it better be more, Joe. We got a lot more show to go.
I know. That's it. We're done, folks. Thank you very much.
That's it. Excellent. Patriots suck. They're going to friggin' get the first round pick. Screw it. Let's go.
Screw you guys. I'm going home.
I'm going home.
I tell you what, though, this, man, just thinking about it makes me lose my train of thought because I was starting to get excited for a second with Drew Don.
For a second with Drew Don, thinking that
is there the possibility that Belichick may have finally found a Lawrence Taylor type to create again?
Yeah.
What happened to that guy?
Well,
what happened to that Belichick is what I want to know.
Yeah.
I know Lawrence Taylor.
You want to jump right into Coach's Corner,
no,
you just want to die.
I'm talking about Drew Don right now, where I had a little sparkle in my eye, thinking that he could potentially be that pass rush that we needed.
Well, he had
threat to
4 tackles, 2 attempts, 4 tackles. I'm sorry, 2 assists. I don't have a huge problem with how Judon played today. He wasn't spectacular. He got close a couple of times when he was rushing. His play in the run game could have been better. But again, Godchow, Davis, because Barmore went out in this game with an injury. Davis came in. Those 3 guys, they're getting better, and especially with this offensive line they were facing this week, and the 2 backs they were facing. I thought they held those backs under control. They just didn't get those kinds of stops when you needed them. But I say that, Joe, and I'm forgetting the 4th down goal line stand. I mean, that you can't just ignore that. That 4th down, and like I said, the Dallas fans are like, hey, it was a touchdown. You could tell. It was simple. Oh, bullshit. There was a major scrum there. You couldn't see where the ball was. The call on the field was the call on the field. If it were a touchdown, they wouldn't have reversed that either. So, but the bottom line is, and then Bentley came up and swatted that ball down, he would have gotten over if he didn't make a good play. So, again, they made the plays in the red zone at times that they needed to in the running game. So hats off to that.
Right.
The issue, though, is the pass rush.
Yeah.
They weren't getting to him at all. And it got to the point where, I hate, Joe, when offenses dictate to defenses what goes on. That pisses me off. I tell these kids all the time, and I tell the other coaches on the team, hey, look, we need to do things so that we're dictating to the offense. So we'll have that offense trying to figure out what they're doing, how to do it, and why, and what's not working and why. But when it goes the other way, you're screwed. And when it goes the other way against a team like the Cowboys, you're really screwed.
Yeah. I mean, because they're 5 in a row. They won 5 in a row. I mean, they're
a good football team.
They're a good football team. And Prescott,
they're not a good football team. They're a team that's going to be talked about in contention for the Super Bowl kind of team.
They already are.
Right.
And you look at Prescott, hats off to him for coming back and kind of having that, is he going to do it? Is it going to be any good? coming off, whatever injuries he's had, or anything else that would give the idea that, at the beginning of the season, people are like, we don't know. He looks whatever. He's all right. Now here he is. And, he's always a Prescott of old. And you're like, oh, this kid, we forgot how good he was. You know what I mean? And now you got Zeke out there behind him. It's like they should be rolling over teams.
Yeah.
But we held it close. So you're going, just another. Like, how many close calls have we had in the past 4 years? Close losses.
Yeah, the difference in the last 4 years, or minus the last 2, I'd say 2 out of the 4, was we were winning those 50-50 games.
Right?
And we were winning those. Now we're losing them. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's what's, although last week they won it, but the Texans suck. So the bottom line is, here's the problem that you have. If you bring pressure on them, they picked it up. When they brought pressure on Prescott, they picked it up and he delivered the ball quickly. He's a quarterback that gets the ball out quicker than almost anyone else in the league. Okay? And so quickly when you bring pressure. When you don't bring pressure and you let them sit back there, you put your secondary in a real bind because you're trying to take care of guys like Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Wilson. Yeah. I mean, they have playmakers that for some reason we can't seem to get. Yeah. They have playmakers that can torch you in that at the receiver position. So, again, they're in a spot where they're dictating. They're dictating things to the Patriots, and you never want to be in that spot. But Joe, I mean, look, the defensive ends. I have a problem with the defensive line. I have a problem with the defensive ends and the linebackers. Okay. I'm sick and tired of Dietrich Wise. I've had enough of Dietrich Wise. I mean, enough with this guy. He and Winovich. Winovich didn't play. He was hurt, whatever. He was doubtful to come back. I don't give a shit. Dietrich Wise, he just can't set an edge. Do you know what I mean when I say set an edge?
Yeah. And it's like, it's not, I don't even, you know what? No, I don't know what you mean because they don't do it. I don't see anything. I don't see anything of what you mean about an edge. I don't know what edge you're talking about because the Patriots aren't setting any type of edge.
Well, they allow guys to get outside. The ends are supposed to make this happen so nothing gets around. And I watched Wise the whole game. He's taking an inside move, and here comes Prescott rolling out and creating plays on the run.
Yeah.
Or running back hitting the edge or something like that. I mean, you just can't do that. You can't allow that to happen. You've got to set that kind of an edge. So it ain't like you're rushing 3 guys, which by the way, they did at certain times. And that just gave Prescott all day long to throw the ball. So again, they were damned if they did, damned if they didn't. And we knew that was going to happen with this type of offense that the Cowboys had. And look, to their credit, that score was a low scoring game for a while, for a long time. That was a low scoring game. And all of a sudden in the fourth quarter with half of it left, boom, it all opened up. Yeah. But it only opened up because the Cowboys did what they needed to do to win. As soon as New England opened it up and was able to score, then the Cowboys did, and they were just Joe. The problem that I have, okay, I want to just go into the secondary right now. Okay, I want to go to the defensive backs because everybody talks about the Gilmore trade, okay, and say, well, how do you walk away from a guy like him? He wouldn't have been playing today. He'd be maybe coming back next week.
Right.
But Joe, the defensive backs stunk today. They stunk. Big chunks of yardage.
They're the people I said at the beginning who I see not trying at all. I mean, the last play of the game basically defines what I mean. And then he gives him a shove at the end. It's like he torched you. You said the appropriate word just a second ago. They get torched. And it's like embarrassing. Torched. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like
Joe, listen, you and Patriots fans, you got to see this, okay? If Dallas didn't shoot themselves, this was one of those games where Dallas has to be saying to themselves, it's not what the Patriots are doing to us, it's what we're doing to ourselves. because they had penalty after penalty in big moments and drove them back, but it never mattered. Shit, Mark, Joe, every single time they were in, I apologize, man. I'm so fired up and pissed off that, I'll call you in. And,
word is Mark.
yeah, John, Bill, Ted, whatever. I'm going to call you all night.
Fans
just call me jerk face.
No, our fans know that you guys are constantly on the telephone, like a ritual almost, watching the games, like all of them. You know what I mean? And that's what we're trying to accomplish here with both shows, the Pats Nation and CORSO CATONE, is reduplicate that sort of situation, because, man, it's something to see. And so, it's natural that you're first.
You are dirt. You're just dirty, cheap plug.
Good at it, though. Good at it. But I tell you what,
listen, they gave him up. So when they committed a penalty and it was 2nd and 20. Oh, no. 3rd and 25. Okay. You give up 20. If it's 2nd and 15, you give up 14. If it's 3rd and 16, you give up 15. And then it forces them to decide, do I want to go for it or not on 4th down? You can't, as a secondary, give up chunks of yards the way they're doing. I don't care who you're playing. You got to find a way to have that not happen. Now, I get it. The pass rush is not getting home. They're not getting to Prescott. So it's allowing the wide receivers, it was allowing the defensive backs to have to cover more for longer. And that's a problem, especially with the talent that the Cowboys have. But I'm not going to give them a pass. I'm not going to do it. They played soft. Their tackling was terrible. They took bad leverage, bad angles.
You can't give a pass because when it counted, they get a gift. What was that, 15-yard penalty at the end? Gift. And gave it right back to him.
Right back.
By that softness. And you go, all right, guys.
And you knew it. Joe, you knew.
You knew it was coming, because they just every play you just mentioned was exactly every single play right up until that flag. And it's like, that's where I say to myself, it seems like these are the last couple of years when we would blame Brady for these. And this is where I don't mind bringing Brady back in. I don't care, because I'm going to talk about him, because I have to use the comparison of when he was there, when he was not, and when he's not now, and seeing the 2 times where we've had these close games and lose by a point, 2 points, whatever it is, and they were consistent.
One score, yeah.
And you're like, who is it? Who's doing it? Who's not trying that play?
Joe,
it's not there anymore. We're still making those same type of games, having those same games, and you're like, okay.
Well, I'll tell you who's not getting it done. Jalen Mills. Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Right at the end.
CeeDee Lamb, Joe, was 11 targets, 9 receptions, 149 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Are you kidding me right now?
Oh, man.
Are you kidding me? You're going to give that up? That's Jalen Mills. Between him, Jones, they were terrible. Now, J.C. Jackson, he had a pretty good game. I mean, he was on Cooper a lot. 8 attempts to him, 5 catches, 55 yards. That's keeping somebody under control. But 9 catches for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns? And you want to know why you lost? And you want to know why this game was in overtime? When the Patriots need a stop, when they need to get off the field, they cannot do it. That's it. They can't friggin' do it. And the secondary, the defensive front are not working in unison. No pass rush, no back end help. It's just not good enough.
No.
And you know what? Fine. The Cowboys are one of the best teams in the league as far as, talent wise. Okay. And we're not. You know what I mean? So I get it. And you're in this game. You should feel real good about it and all that shit. But you know what? The Crafts and company have set an expectation that we should have for this team to win. And so I don't give a shit. That's the expectation that I have. And that secondary sucked tonight. They weren't good enough.
And what happens when teams of that caliber lose that expectation? And, you've seen in Green Bay, there's been quite a few other teams that have had that sort of situation drop off. But I feel like some teams like Green Bay didn't really drop that quickly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we did.
Well, number 12, I mean, when number 12 walks out the door. No, you know what? It isn't even number 12. When you draft this poorly, well, you know what? Let's get to that in Coach's Corner. But the last thing I will say is they allowed, you ready?
Yeah.
They allowed the most yards by a quarterback in the first quarter this entire year. Okay. Dak Prescott threw for more yards than any other quarterback has this year in the first quarter.
Nice. Good for
I
him.
mean, what else can you say? I mean, what do you say? They at one point, the time of possession was 13 minutes to 6. 25 plays versus 7. I mean, that sucks. That's an offense that can't get off the field. And even with that, they clawed back in. Mac Jones put him in position. And once again, there was too much time on the clock. Just like against Brady, just like again, too much time on the clock. So when we come back, this is one that Mark is going to be able to
choose one.
This is going to be something. No. That's last. When we come back, I think Mark's going to be upset at the fact that he wasn't able to speak on this topic. We're going to have our Coach's Corner right after this.
It's that time again for a timeout from Pats Nation for a message from one of our sponsors. No one ever thinks they will be in the need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. CORSO Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Their 20-plus years experience and attention to detail has helped thousands of people all across this great country who found themselves in a situation in Arizona. So whether it's a traffic ticket, or if you need reduced DUI or more serious issues, call or go online to CorsoLawGroup.com and talk with these expert attorneys who I know will help you. Corso Law Group. Now back to Pats Nation.
(35-29) Patriots fall to the Dallas Cowboys in overtime for their fourth. I keep saying it. Their fourth home loss in a row. 1993. Okay. So, Joe, let's just get into the Coach's Corner because I know we have a lot to say. Let's have it.
Yeah.
Every time I see the mullet,
Yeah.
I realize that we're just doomed.
Yeah.
We're doomed.
Why is he always making that face? Like, he's like, what's happening out there?
Looks like he's going to the toilet.
You know what? We should make him like a defensive coach, like a head coach.
Yeah.
With that
just
face.
turn the reins over to him.
With that face and mullet. Let's just make him a coach.
Joe, what's your assessment of the coaching in this game?
Well, I tell you what, for 1 second I thought, and last week I said this, where I thought, why isn't like somebody like Mayo actually helping out? Because he was on the team, was playing and helping these other coaches kind of make some of those decisions. But then we saw Belichick reaming him out, for a second I was like, maybe it's him, because sometimes some players can't coach, you know what I mean, and they don't know how to like step into that situation and then lead other people to do better. Sometimes they do it themselves, but they can't teach it, you know what I mean, or lend the good advice for others to do well. And so I feel like that's the situation maybe now, aside from the mullet, of course, because I just don't know. I can't put my finger on it, but I can't. It just baffles me as to what's going on back there.
Look, I heard in the other post game show before coming on, just briefly, because I want to hear Belichick's. I don't even know why I want to hear Belichick's post game conference. It's the same shit every week. We did, just didn't make enough plays. Blah, 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 blah. So I heard them saying, "Hey, the coach kept you in this game." I'm like, "What the hell game were you watching? That the coach kept you in this game?" Joe, explain to me
What does that even
why.
mean?
No, listen. This sums it up all right here. You're coming down to the end of the half, and it was that whole sequence with the fumble and the fourth down stop on the goal line and all that crap. They're calling timeouts. The Patriots are using their timeouts because they want to preserve time to get the ball and try to go down the field and maybe get a score and then get the ball out of the locker room and get another score. So they're calling their timeouts. Okay, so explain to me why, with a minute and 30 seconds on the clock, with one timeout. I believe they had one timeout, I think. You now run the ball to Harris, gain no yards, and then just take a knee and go into the locker room at the half. I swear to God, I almost threw something at the TV. Okay? What the heck? Then why are you taking – listen, here's what – you need to get me, okay, a media credential. You need to get me a media credential so I can question that guy, because I'm not going to let him get away with telling me, well, we don't – look, hey, Bill, why would you call timeouts and then with a minute 30 left not give the offense an opportunity to get down the field? Well, we do what we think we need to do to win games. We make the calls we need to call to win games. Hey, listen, everybody. Look, Bill. Hey, Bill. Why is it you're giving me the same answer every week for every stupid question that I ask? Okay, give me an answer. Is there ever going to be a time when I'm going to answer to a question? Or you know what? Are we just wasting all? You know what? I must be wasting my time here in the media room asking questions. I got a job to do too. Put me in the media room.
The question.
Wait a minute. Let me out. I would say, you know what, Bill? I'm leaving. Give me. I'll come back when you get me a coach that's going to answer some stupid questions as to why the head brain goes in the toilet and you do something like that. Especially when you got a game that goes into overtime. I don't know. Maybe Mac Jones could have driven him down with a minute 30, kicked the field goal, and that may have been the difference in the game, you jackass.
And every fan from every team says the same thing when their team does that same exact thing. It's like, just throw the bomb. Just throw it.
Well, that's not real either. Yeah, but
it is, because you know what? It's a spectator sport. It's a distraction from the people's screws from above anyway. So, in that regard, play the game. Don't play the time. It's not, I understand you want to secure the win at the end. And even then, I know some people who are definitely bent about the fact that they take the knee. But I get it. At the end of the game, you want to secure it. But
look, yeah, listen.
You know what I mean?
Listen, yeah. I mean, the bottom line to me is the defensive scheme. This is why I'm not going to say coaching kept them in this game. No, it didn't. The friggin' defensive scheme that I watched today was a coach that, look, Mike McCarthy stinks. Okay. And he had a Mike McCarthy moment. He had it in the first right away. He went for it. He went for it on fourth down on his side of the 50. Now, can I blame him a lot? Because who the hell had respect for New England's run defense coming into today, or their fourth down defense? They've been atrocious. Usually you get it, against them. But they held. So that's a Mike McCarthy moment of stupidity. Okay? Bill Belichick's moment of stupidity is a little tougher to see. It's a little tougher to see because you have to understand when you're looking at football what they're doing and not doing.
Yeah.
They were caught in no man's land. And that's a coaching problem. That's a schematic problem. What I mean by that is they couldn't get pressure on the quarterback when they tried. Okay? And when they laid back, they allowed Prescott to stand there and just pick them apart. Belichick allowed that team, that awful coaching staff, to dictate to them how the game was going to go. He had nothing special to bring them on defense.
No, and you can see it. That's what I was mentioning at the beginning, is where every time you see Belichick on screen, he's like, Like, he's just watching the game. Just watching the game. It's like, bro, buy a ticket, go get a hot dog, go get a soda, sit down in the stands, and let someone else just do it because you're not doing it. You're not talking to anybody. You're not screaming. You're not nothing. He's just like, and it's not the look like he used to look like.
I'm starting to agree. I'm starting to agree that the time the hourglass is getting, empty. It's almost running out because you're right. But looking at it from a football standpoint, schematically, I'd have to go back and look again and watch it again. But the pressure package that they applied today for Prescott to get after Prescott, so the scheme that they had to get to him was very basic. They weren't doing anything special. There were not a lot of twists. There were not a lot of stunts. They weren't looping to the outside. They just weren't doing a lot to disguise their pressure to get in on them. They just weren't. And on the other side of the ball, everybody knows you pressure, come after Mac Jones because the offensive line, it burned Dallas today. But the point is, the pressure package was terrible, and your secondary is exposed. So when you do bring people, they weren't pressing up on these. They were still giving tons of cushion to these defensive backs, and McCourty's playing in the parking lot down the field. And so I put that on coaching. Absolutely. I put that on scheme. I put it on coaching. And obviously they're better than us. That's a better football team than we are. So don't tell me it's a coaching that kept them in the game. I hear that. It makes me want to puke. That's not what the deal was.
The answer should have been, when you ask the question, he says, we're making the place to win the game. It's like, well, the next question is, don't you have to win the game?
Right. You know what? Yeah. You know what? I'm sorry I wasted my time coming into this media room. I'm sorry I wasted my time coming into this room and asking you anything. Holy shit. What a goddamn waste of time that is for any of those media people to sit there. What should happen is they should all be gone. Nobody. Belichick should come to the podium and there should be nobody there. Yeah, give me a call when you're ready to answer a question and I'll be back. This is a waste of my time. You know what I mean? So anyway, I'm going to go grill a hot dog. And so again, I'm disgusted. McCarthy is not a good coach. He had McCarthy moments today. We didn't capitalize on much of it. And again, Dallas, penalties, turnovers, penalties, and that's why they didn't score 50. That's the reason they didn't score 50. Don't you dare think for 1 second that there was any coaching gem by the Patriots on the defensive side of the ball.
Oh, yeah. It wasn't one of those games that the Dallas is not going back and going, what were you guys doing out there?
Yeah, wow, we were great.
Just barely squeaked by a win.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yep. And so, and McDaniels, I'll give him a little more credit. He opened up a little bit today. He had some better calls. So, so that's my take on the coaching. Again, I'm starting to agree that this may be the swan song for this guy at this point. You know what I mean? Which means we lost both. Hey, fantastic. Good call again, Kraft. Our Coach's Corner was presented by CORSO Law Group, Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. CORSOLawGroup.com. Allow us to be your voice. Joe, our Sunday stiff, let's get to it because we're running out of time, and I know you probably have a good one, right? So
I think I've already said it several times. I'm going to keep my Sunday stiff, the same person, until he changes his tune. Because you know what? The difference is this time around, he's consistent of being shitty rather than the other way around. Because we're all waiting for that chess move to happen, to that bomb, that's something that dazzles us. Then we go, oh, you know what, Belichick? Oh, he had us again. But he hasn't had us again in 3 years. He hasn't done that. And
so Belichick is your Sunday stiff then? I have to give it to the entire secondary. I got to give it to the entire, minus J.C. Jackson. I give it to the entire defensive backfield. Jonathan Jones, Jalen Mills, McCourty, Phillips, Duggar. Who the hell else? Bethel. Anyone else that they paraded out there. Okay. They were terrible.
Didn't he almost like stopped that kick, that field goal. But then I think he like tweaked his ankle, but he just got pushed off his edge. But he was like, dude, you were right there. Yeah. Dive, do something. That's that a little extra that a professional has to do. You know what I mean?
Right. So that's mine. Mine is a tie. Okay, it's a tie. It's a tie between all the defensive backs that allow. And look, like I said, 400 and whatever the hell, 440 yards by Prescott. You got to give it to the secondary. Hey, you didn't look. Don't tell me about the pass rush. I get it. I understand. I just talked about that. They put him in bad spots, and they did at times. But they can't get a stop, Joe. That defensive backfield can't get a pass defense. They can't get a pass deflection. They can't press up. They can't close gaps and get on their hip. And they just can't do it.
Hey, you know
and
what?
when you need a stop from them, they can't produce it. That's it.
They're making the calls to win the game. Doing what they got to do. They're making the calls to win the game.
Thanks, Bill. Thanks, Bill. Can I get that 10 minutes of my life back, Bill? Thanks. I appreciate that. Thanks a ton. Thanks a bunch. That's just what you hear in the press conference. Well, we didn't make enough plays. They made, a couple more than we did. I mean, overtime, I like the way our guys fought. But they just made a couple more plays than us. We got to do things better. We got to run better. We got to block better. We got to, drive better. We got to, eat better. We got to, holy shit, So anyway, Sunday Stiff was presented by Jag Media Productions. Everything looks fantastic, Joe. Again, Jag Media Productions. So we don't have much time. We're actually up, but let's 2-minute warning. Joe, wrap it up.
Well, we're 2-4, right? And this kind of loses our chance to get to the playoffs, right? But I still think that I always am hopeful that there's miracles along the way. Some teams lose, whatever, what have you. It's happened before. And I think that they can still pull something out if they just get their heads out of their ass. That's it.
For those of you who believe that, hey, look, Miami, Tampa, this game, they should be 4-1. Okay. Can you send me whatever it is you're drinking or having so that I can have it too? No. I get it that they were in those games. I get a fumble happened in Miami. I get Tampa was a doink off the post. And I get this one went to overtime. I understand that. Okay. But when you go back and you look at those games and you really, really look closely at those games, it was the same. It's everything those teams did to themselves and not what the Patriots did to them. Yeah, let me say, do I need to repeat that? The Patriots are not a good football team right now. They're not a good football team, period. And they're starting to forget how to win. They don't know how to win games, to finish games and win games and not take advantage. The Patriots of old, with a team that had 12 penalties or whatever Dallas had today and the turnovers, would have destroyed that team today at home. And don't give me number 12. It's not just about number 12. They knew how to win. They understood how to win, and they just had more talent. Okay? They're devoid of talent, and that rests solely on Belichick. 2-minute warning was presented by Corso and Catone, the real deal, New England Field, Saturdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, every Saturday. And, hey, we have our heated hotline in Corso and Catone. So, hey, make sure you call this week and leave a message for the heated hotline. So, next week, the Jets come into town, Joe. Obviously, maybe that's a game we can just get right on, I would assume. Unless you want them to lose all the rest of the games now to get a good draft pick, which they won't take a good receiver anyway. So what's the point?
More, we'll catch up to the Jets. That's all.
Right. Some people to thank tonight. Good people over at Special Sauce Podcast, Startup Finance, and Drive Yourself to Success. SpecialSaucePodcast.com. Jag Media Productions. Look, Joe, fantastic job again. Studio 42 Designs for all your graphic design needs. Studio42designs.com. Corso Law Group, Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. CorsoLawGroup.com. Allow us to be your voice. And Mountain View Home Watch and Security, Scottsdale's leading watch and security firm. Joe, pulling double duty, triple duty, quadruple duty. Hell of a job tonight, Joe. It's Corso and Joe. Mark, watch yourself. Watch yourself, Mark. Joe's coming. He's coming up on the rails on you. Join us next week when the Patriots host the New York Jets Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern. Our post-game show will be following, 30 minutes following that. We'll have all your coverage, including MacMania, Coach's Corner and our Sunday Stiff. And hey, make sure you tune in to Corso and Catone, the real deal New England feel, every Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern. And listen, we're going to preview that Patriots Jets game along with the heated hotline. So for Joe Guarnieri, I'm Chris Corso. Final score again. Cowboys beat the Patriots in overtime, 35-29. So long, everyone.